What's up guys, Phantom here back with episode 58 of my F1 2019 career mode as we are going to the Marina Bay Street Circuit for the Singapore Grand Prix for round 15 of season 3 here. As you can see here, we have a aerodynamic upgrade for our front wing as Ferrari has taken over McLaren, who for the middle stretch of the season was the fastest car on paper here, as we will go to qualifying.
Welcome along again to the Marina Bay Circuit. The atmosphere is thick, not just with humidity, but with tension as well, as we get ready for qualifying here at the Singapore Grand Prix. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction, and over the course of a lap it's easy to get that balance wrong, and that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now and it never gets any easier.
As we start out here in Q2 with 10 seconds left before we have to cross the line here, as we start our flying lap here at Marina Bay, Singapore, which is the second night race of the season and was the original one to hold a night race. As you see here in the third sector, Ricardo there kind of held us up there a little bit for a few corners. As we come across the line, we will be P9 as Raikkonen's P8, as we will move on to Q3. As we move here to the very end of Q3 now, as we have about 15 seconds left as we come across the line to start our one and only flying lap here into the first section here of turn 1, 2, and 3. As we come off the corner there, we're going to move to the end of the lap here to this double apex left-hander as we cut the corner there a little bit, as we are P9 as Raikkonen, our teammate, is P7, about a tenth ahead of us, as Verstappen is on pole and Sainz is in second. Probably the best qualifying of the season for the Red Bull, as we will move on to the race.
As the sun sets over the South China Sea, the sport that never sleeps is alert and raring to go. Welcome, under the bright lights of the Marina Bay Circuit, to another Singapore Grand Prix. It's a very long, very physical lap, this one, and really there's not much in the way of margin for error. So we have a bit of an endurance race for you tonight. The Marina Bay Street Circuit then has 23 corners, 13 to the left and 10 to the right, taking us a total of 3.1 miles around the landmarks of downtown Singapore. An average lap speed around here, just 107 miles per hour. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once again by Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Old Timer. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and talented Spaniard Carlos Sainz completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Lando Norris, and Hamilton, Raikkonen, Perez, Oldtimer, and Roman Grosjean, Weber, Bottas, Devon Butler, and Ricciardo, Stroll, Magnussen, Nico Hülkenberg, and George Russell, Kvyat, and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
As we sit here, MP9 sitting behind our teammate Raikkonen here, as the 5 lights are on, and they are on forever, and they're finally out, as Grosjean seems to get a pretty good jump there on us, as Weber's right behind us and he actually hits us, as I don't think he's lost any wing, but we get a warning for contact with Weber there. as we are settling in the 9th here, as Perez and Hamilton are going side by side here as we're trying to get a good run off the corner. As they come down the straight, we move to Perez's side because he seems to get a little bit better of a straight line speed, as we're going to go down the inside of Hamilton here, as he's going to have the inside, so we're going to have to go all the way around. We weren't far enough ahead to squeeze him out there, as we have taken 8th place, as now we set our sights on Perez here, as we will look into the hairpin here right after the bridge, as we are not able to make the move work, as Perez with his OP acceleration racing point takes off, as we come once again to the hairpin here, and we try once again here. We just can't get alongside of him, as even with Rich Mitch and overtake, we cannot get past him, as once again we're going to come on to lap 3 times in a row. We're even farther back, but we were going to dive it down the inside, kind of squeeze him out there on the exit of the corner, as we have made P7, as now we are looking at Norris here down the long straight here. We're going to think about making a move, as Norris cuts us off there, as we really had no real estate to bargain with, as we come once again down the inside this time with more authority, as he has to respect us this time, as he is kind of around the inside there, as we kind of cut him off there, as we are now behind our teammate Raikkonen here, as we are going to make another dive into the hairpin, as we make probably the most contact we have out of the whole ordeal with Perez there, so that isn't good. As we come to the end of lap 5 here, as we are coming into the pits, as Vettel ahead of us is also coming in, as well as Norris right behind us, as we get it barely woed up there into the pits, as it looks like a lot of people are coming into the pits, as we will be, looks like, the last people down here, as it doesn't look like either Williams are too far back or they're on medium tires to start the race, as we come out right behind Vettel here, as we've closed up a ton here in the pit stop phase here, as we will come on to lap 6, coming on to lap 7 actually, as we will take a few positions here on to lap 12, as we have passed Sainz, but Norris has attempted to pass Sainz and actually hit his own teammate, as Weber has set the fastest lap of the race there. So that is not very, Christian Horner would not be very happy about that, as we close right up to Vettel here, right up to his gearbox here, as it looks like Leclerc up ahead is getting held up by one of these slow cars. We barely miss Vettel's rear end, and we kind of deservedly got cut off there, as it looks like Giovinazzi is holding this whole group up, as we get DRS here, and we are just not that very quick in the straight line because how we running our wings, but we will dive down the inside of Vettel here for a net 4th or 3rd place there, as we get it barely woed up there, as we come into the first section here, as Leclerc is finally getting past Giovinazzi there, but we will try to also make it work as well, as we will have the inside line here, as we will take P10 from Giovinazzi here, as we look into once again our favorite overtaking opportunity, as we get really squeezed in there on both sides, as it looks like we're not going to be able to make the overtake work, as he's on a pole kind of half defensive, and we kind of ran into the back of him as he went half defensive, half on the racing line there, as Leclerc's now going to try to overtake Hulkenberg, and they're going to go really shallow into turn 1 there, so we're going to cut back, have the inside line here for turn 3, as we will try to power off the corner, as we are not really able to, as we're side by side, and we get hit by Leclerc there, as we were trying to find where he was, but we are able to get ahead of him, but he will have DRS on this back stretch here, as we're going to go defensive into the left-hander here, and he actually hits us, as I think he's lost his end plate there, as he will be slow from now on here. As we look on the replay here, he kind of just nudges into us, and he has lost his end plate, as he will be slow now, as you look there, as Vettel has overtaken him for P3 there, as we come onto the end of lap 11. We have set the fastest lap of the race, so that is 1 point worth to us, but Bottas is out of the race now on the second to last lap here. As you can see, he's kind of blown an engine. But right after that, Norris here kind of just clips and takes another piece of his end plate off, as he was back in 14th or 15th or something like that, as Verstappen, who's absolutely run away with the race, wins the Singapore Grand Prix, but we will finish second.
Good job, you did really well. Super driving.
What a fantastic Grand Prix that was, and an excellent win for McLaren. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I mean, can it be anyone else other than Danny Kvyat? His performance today really set him apart from the other drivers out there. He's got to be happy with how he's done here this weekend.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. It was a tough race for our championship leaders, who lose ground at the top of the table. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.